Yeah, I've seen it. It's
bill that was.
It's another attempt by the Biden administration to kind of pander to who they view
votes.
as their who they view as their constituency. I believe you'd call them. Yes.
Yes.
But they keep doing these things and like. Whatever. They've done a bunch of them racially that we've talked about.
For sure.
Now you're trying to assuage the...
And the other side does the same thing, like with, liberties. And, they just use catchphrases and buzzwords and,
Oh, yeah.
freedom and liberty. And
it's an entire country of, 6-year-olds behaving poorly,
exactly.
basically.
Yeah, you could just...
let's not...
look at Critchlow comes in and says, mount it up. Now... Unfortunately,
you missed it. That's over.
That's over. And
how embarrassing! He just comes in late and mounts up. Everybody laugh at him.
Oh my god!
We just explained that mounting.
I'm sorry, everyone, that even happened.
No, but so I think this is the Biden administration sort of going. Okay, we want to keep like that whole democratic socialist, whatever people think they are.
That kind of vibe going.
Well, that movement. Yeah. We want to keep them engaged.
Also, they made promises, campaign promises.
Sure.
And that's never made any politician do anything, to be honest. But I think what it is his approval rating is so fucking low. And he really has been called out a lot, even on the left, for not doing anything that he said that he was going to do and all this shit. So...
Of course, like they all always are.
Yeah, I mean, why think that's going to be any different?
But the hilarious thing to me is like this isn't something you even have to dig that far into because I knew immediately. I'm like, so hold on, people. This is how dumb a lot of people in this country are. You go, it's debt relief. And people like me and you go, what do you mean relief? Where does the money? Because the people who loan the money aren't just rolling over and going, oh, okay, you know what? They're just kids.
No, they're not.
So it's like, what happens? We know what happens. They take tax money from other people and give it to like billionaires that are in control of all this fucking defunct debt and all that shit.
Yes.
And then or current debt or whatever, however it is. And the and everybody goes, yay, we won. But it's like you're still taking. You don't only taxes don't work like, hey, we'll just take the billionaires' money and give it to the other billionaires. No, they're taking everyone. It all goes together.
They're taking all the people's money that didn't go to college,
and then the old argument starts.
Yes.
Well, but that's just a drop in the barrel compared to blah blah blah. Yeah, I don't like any of it.
Yeah,
so
I know that. So okay, yeah. Before we actually get into the nuts and bolts of the whole thing, I have. So I posted something on social media the other day that it was like, sort of critiquing this whole decision. And one of my sort of lefty friends, one of my pals on the left, was like, yeah, but 500 billion to bail out banks or something like that. No one bats an eye. No.
No,
everyone bats an eye.
The whole country was one giant blinking eye.
Yeah,
you don't remember
nobody
that?
wanted that.
Yeah,
this is not like So that
no,
that
it is. People
stop.
always it's always whataboutism.
It's just like, well, your side did this.
If you
first
do that,
of all, I don't have a fucking side.
Right.
That's the first thing to remember. I'm not on a side.
Except for homicide.
Yeah, homicide. My favorite.
Sorry.
Yeah. So a few statistics I thought we should go over. So first of all, let's just say what the plan is. So this debt relief is going to...
They're going to steal money from other people to give it to people who are already insanely wealthy to appease kids who don't have any idea how the economy works or anything about money. So not that I fucking do.
Yeah, so that's $10,000 per debt, let's say. Mm-hmm. So you have, I think, around 50 million people that are in student debt. And each of them get $10,000 forgiven. But forgiven's an odd word. What they're really doing is paying $10,000 of that off with taxpayers' money to the tune of, I want to say, $50 billion. Now, that $50 billion comes out of that raises taxes, or it has to come out of some other program or whatever.
Regardless, it doesn't just get made up out of nothing.
The government doesn't have money.
The debt doesn't just get erased.
No.
Money changes hands, and it originates somewhere around our neighborhood, probably. It's not like I was saying before. The average person is paying this debt now. You know, it's whatever. So.
Yes. So, and okay, let's see. Mike says school should be no charge like it was before Ronnie Reagan.
What? Why do you
Jordan
think
says
that?
20 if it's a Pell Grant. So apparently it's 20,000 you get if it's a Pell Grant, which, okay. The money has already been stolen from us. It makes no difference to me where it goes. I won't be happy with the use of my money for anything. Okay,
hold on. You
That
can't
was
just
just
say
this- that
you
was
can't
Katie.
just say school should be no charge. Have you ever been to a college? There's like fucking 50 giant buildings.
Yeah.
Thousands of employees.
Yeah, well, we'll get into this. Hold on.
What do you mean it should be? There's no such thing as free. If it should be no charge and you want it to be socialized, like we were saying earlier,
Yeah.
go like countries where that type of shit is like socialized are paying 60% in fucking taxes.
Yeah, of their income and taxes.
And it's a much different. It's a
specifically.
much different culture. I don't know if
And it's also very
I don't know
much
how many
smaller.
people would actually like living that way as much as they
No,
think.
you don't have the ceiling that you can achieve. Now, most people that don't like this type of this type of society are ones that don't think that they'll ever achieve that high of a status. Anyways, you know what I mean. So it's
Sure.
like, well, fuck this. Who cares? But anyways, okay. So let's get into so people. So one thing that I think is interesting is the way that over the last so since 1985. College costs have gone up 500%. Okay.
Okay.
So that is 4 times per year, 4 times the rate of inflation.
Is that like okay?
That's insane.
So it's relative to like standard or cost of living.
Yes,
Like,
it's
okay.
yes, it's well, no, it's just that
Or
is
is it
the
just-
amount. Like nothing else has gone up 500%.
Okay.
That's a
In that
fucking
amount of time.
yeah. So
Weed maybe.
possibly, maybe. I don't think so. No.
You know where you can get some great weed? College.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's gone up an amazing amount. And during that time, so when the government got into the business of guaranteeing loans for students that couldn't, afford college.
Yeah.
Now you have government-backed money by the taxpayers, obviously, which, okay, now whether or not somebody that is poor should be able to have access to higher education, that I don't think anyone has a problem with. Okay, so
I don't know. The world needs ditch diggers too.
it does, though. But so that's the thing. Okay, so income relative to degrees. So if you have a bachelor's degree, if you get a bachelor's degree now in today's in our current society, your income level on average is going to be 65% more than if you don't. If you have a master's, it's going to be 100% more, right? Mm-hmm. Now, unemployment is about half that if you have a college degree than if you do not, than if you have just only a high school diploma, right? So the question is it fair to charge those who didn't go to college, make less money, obviously, and are far less likely to even have employment, to charge them to pay for the debt
I gotta say,
of the people that are now making?
I'm no economist, but statistically, it seems unsustainable.
Yeah,
You
so
know?
this doesn't
Like-
make a lot of sense to
Yeah.
most people. Now, what isn't addressed in any of this is the predatory practices of the fucking colleges and the banks and the
Okay.
government
So
themselves.
Here's what I've always said: like, don't people are people not interested in reforming the idea that universities should be the gatekeepers to this better life, and this.
Okay, so
That's what I mean. Should we not be more addressing that rather than how do we pay the same old corrupt and evil gatekeepers?
Yes.
Let's stop talking about how we can change the way that they still get all the money.
Yeah, so this is another thing is during this whole time, so since universities saw that students were going to have guaranteed money per the US government, you see the same sort of trajectory going with college tuition costs.
Okay.
Like this is where this comes from, is if you have guaranteed student money, well now, and you're having students that don't have any fucking clue at 18 how loans work. They don't know shit.
When you're 18, you think you're going to be dead in 6 years and you don't care.
Or you
It's
think
like,
you're going to be like a fucking rapper or something. Not,
Yeah,
no offense.
you're going to be an astronaut. I didn't think that till I was like 20.
Yeah, okay.
But-
But yes, you're right. A public school is a public school because the public has already paid for it. Universities are not public. Public universities are not paid for the same as a public school. And maybe they should be. That's fine. That's an argument that you can have. But in that same time frame, the necessity of a degree has gone up to a ridiculous amount where you need a master's to be a fucking librarian, to file papers.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Where this was never a thing in the past. So it's become there's, like you were saying, there's these gatekeepers now where it's like the notion is if you don't go to college, you're pretty much going to be relegated to some sort of, and even if it's a good, a well-paying or a good-paying job, it's just the esteem isn't there. You know what I mean? It's just this notion that if you don't go to college, you're going to be a loser. You know what I mean? No matter whether or not you actually look at stats and see like every entrepreneur that's making, $5 million and above didn't get a fucking college education. All of this shit.
It's such a weird thing too, because I moved out when I was 18 and just went directly into the workforce and started supporting myself.
Yes.
And then, so if I ever happened to visit some of my friends at college, to me, within 6 months of living on my own, they were like children to me.
Oh yeah,
and
they didn't have to do anything.
They were like they just had a high school extended sleepover basically or some shit.
Yes.
And it's weird how like by the time they graduated college, and then for some of them, because they're in debt or they're in this problem or whatever, are still with their parents until they're 25, 27 and whatever. And it's weird that me, like having gone directly into the workforce at 18 and had all these skills and grew up young, still was at such a disadvantage. And then like a lot of those people that I'm thinking of are making, 150, 200 grand a year now. Blah blah blah, but it just struck me as kind of odd that if you take like a more direct approach, you're much less likely to become successful.
It doesn't make any, but you're not though, really.
If you have a trade, but I'm just saying.
But I mean, even if you went into a job and worked your way up, and you know what I mean, even
you could do that.
Yeah, it's just that a lot of people don't.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of people don't. So if you're looking at like not doing shit and not doing shit out of college, you'll probably get a better position going in, with a master's. You'll go into some corporate, desk job and make a decent amount of money. And you can just stay there and make a decent amount of money.
I guess I feel like it's weird how long they like stayed kids. And then still had a leg up somehow. It just seems odd. I don't know.
Yeah, we all visited. Like I didn't go to college, and we all visited colleges. I lived right off campus in Madison for a long time. Most kids that are there, they don't give a fuck about it. They're partying their ass off. That's what they're doing.
So talking like you already been an adult for a year or two. I go to visit some friends at college, and they had this giant like game board, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna get drunk. I'm like, well, what the fuck does this thing have to do with it? No, this is the drinking game.
Yeah, we got to make it
like I'm not fucking doing that, dude.
Yeah. I definitely did all that shit.
I'm like, I have a bottle of whiskey, I'm going to drink it. No, you can't have any. I'll be over here.
Fuck off.
Mostly
what I did is just like
it just was weird, and they'd be sneaking around. We're like 20 years old, and like what I had seen like Animal House or whatever and all this shit, and they're fucking all sneaking around. There's cops everywhere. They're like, we can smoke weed in the tunnel. I'm like, in the fucking tunnle.
Like, grow a set, bitch.
Yeah, Jesus, dude. It never seemed appealing to me. I don't know. And then sure enough, that was my stupidity at 18, not understanding the value of an education, I suppose.
But that's true. But there's very few positions that really require specific, education. Well, engineer, mathematician, doctor, these types of things. If you're going to, punch a clock at a corporate fucking desk job, you'll
get fired for that. You got to control your anger.
Yeah,
I've heard about.
So
those
let's
places.
go to some things that you were just mentioning. So, let me hear.
While you're pulling that up, I was just to add on to that. What we're struggling to convey here is that to me it does seem like a really archaic way of learning for a lot of ways. Now you could argue like you've got online colleges that actually kind of makes sense, and they're probably a small tiny fraction of the cost.
That's
whatever you want to get some kind of certified education. Great, that actually makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But to get this like general experience in education and be sent off like it's 1882 so you can go fucking experience the world because you grew up in a farm town somewhere and you need to like you know what I mean?
Socialize.
The tradition is based on that more, I think.
Sure.
Is like people making networking,
Well, I mean, that
connections
still
and like
is what it is, and like Ivy
there's
League
that too,
schools
I
and
guess.
shit,
But
for sure.
But
if
what I
you're
mean
going
is
to
just for the
fucking
purposes of education.
U of I or something
Why-
like that, you're
why-
not getting culture.
Why are we still structured that way? I guess. Is
Yeah,
what I'm
and
saying.
also, why do you need like a fucking, you know what I mean, like a English lit credit to be, to be a dog groomer when you get out? It's just a lot of people that I know that own they didn't need
Because
90% of the fucking 90% of the courses and the credits that they were forced to take. They don't need those. You don't need to know what function chloroform has in the production of energy in a cell in a plant in order to go into finance. It just doesn't fucking matter.
By the time I got kicked out of high school, mostly what I had to do was like drive 45 minutes away to a bad kid school to go to 3 gym classes every day.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
like, this is stupid.
Yeah, this is awesome. Actually,
I went from being in like an honors English class to just going to gym class with a bunch of like behavioral disorder kids.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that's
that's
for me.
But what
Those
you got? I know
were
you got a
me.
lot more on this. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, no, you're good.
I just always feel like it's weird how tightly people want to hold on to this institution. Like, let it go. There's other ways to educate, and there's other,
Here's some things that to sort of surmise, condense what I'm trying to say is, as the guaranteed money came in, universities were able to justify bloated budgets and spend way more freely because they knew that way more kids were going to be coming to their school, and with government-backed loans that were basically just being given out. This seems like the subprime housing market, exactly, when they were just giving loans out to people that would never be able to afford these.
Yeah.
And just knowing like eventually they're going to defunct. But
it is the exact same thing.
it is. It really is the same thing,
I was thinking that
except on
earlier,
this
but yeah.
one, you can't file bankruptcy. There's no forgiveness. It just so.
There's a lot of things now that I'm thinking about this whole like rope-a-dope thing of like I mean that's like what you have with the opioid industry even is
Yes.
like you had the government start requiring that people have access to this in different situations, and then look what you get. Okay.
Yeah,
this is a lot.
Exactly.
This is a lot of things.
It's a lot
Yeah.
of things that makes a lot of money for a few people at the
Right.
fucking very top.
Definitely. Okay.
So I thought it was interesting that to look at some of the amenities that some of the universities are offering to entice students to their facility, their higher learning institution here. And so one of them is Dylan's Takeover Leisure Pool at Texas Tech University. So here's a little ad, a little profile.
So what? I'm sorry. But what is this? Because I was looking at Michael Ewald said a public school is a public school because the public already paid for
Yes.
it through taxes, which I just thought was a point worth mentioning.
Yes. Which
and,
is true.
We read the
have-
comments we agree with mostly.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So this is an amenity at Texas Tech
Oh, okay. I see.
that seems a little odd to me.
What the? Dylan! Dylan, what are you doing? We have.
That guy was not.
I didn't know. Okay, so
That guy was not wearing his mask properly.
here we go. They got one of the biggest water parks in the U.S.
Okay.
Coordinator. What are all the features here at the leisure pool?
So we have our awesome whitejack on the other side.
Take your mask off.
He
He doesn't have one on. Take it off.
Yeah,
You look
you're
foolish.
outside and you're talking on
you're
camera.
talking, yeah.
Just over there. It's a great place for kiddos to run around. Then we have our lazy river.
Well, kiddos. Now listen. Don't refer to students as kiddos because they're adults now, right? If they're not
If you're
adults,
gonna call them kiddos, don't
Yeah.
send them to war.
but also don't tell me to pay for their fucking higher education if they're being treated as kiddos. Because this is another problem: is that these institutions have become not places of learning, but places of coddling and safe spaces and fucking, you know what I mean?
Also, another thing too, like it's just another aspect of like we're being asked as a society to fund this and have zero oversight.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on. there.
No fucking
But-
say in
but
anything
yes.
that happens.
So, so yes. Okay, so yeah, this is Texas A&M, one of the.
And I know there's oversight for universities. I get
Yeah,
that.
ad
What I'm saying,
nauseum. It's everything is oversight.
from the
It's
general
just all
public's
bureaucracy.
from the general public's perspective.
But
it's
that's
like,
another thing is the positions, the way that is multiplied, administrative positions have. Okay, we don't have to watch it, but
Sorry.
So this is one of these. Here's
that was
another
the thing.
one.
They have a pool.
Yeah, no, they have a water park.
water park, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
one of the bigger ones in the U.S. Here's the Tiger Grotto at Mizzou. This is a Playboy-inspired fucking grotto so that the kids can relax when they're not studying 5 hours a week.
Yeah, no shit. I'm sure
and
only
drinking
wholesome,
their fucking faces off.
wholesome activities happening.
Yeah, and
here.
also, what do these cost? $5 million? I mean, what does that cost to build this?
Right.
Here's another one. Oh, no,
I
here's
kind of
another
feel like
one.
this too. Yeah, if it's gonna be publicly funded in any way, it should be like the most barren
Basic,
of like
yeah.
courthouse
You're going to
environments.
school in a jail.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Everything's fucking
Yeah.
cinder block and
Hey,
metal.
you want
Get your education. If you want to go here, if you really want an education and you want free access to it, you don't get a hot tub.
Yeah, fuck
That's
you.
what you don't get. You,
You
get
want-
fucking in, you get out.
You want my money? I want you. I want you locked the fuck up. 3 squares and a cot.
All right.
An
This
hour of
one is at,
sunshine. That's
This
it.
is Mount Ripley at Michigan Tech. They have their own ski resort at Michigan Tech, apparently. Oh, good for you.
Why do they all have this? Is this like ironic to them now to do like cheesy like MIDI stuff?
Yeah,
or-
I don't know. It's idiotic. But but so this is
Having lived through the era of MIDI, it's like you're just like,
Yeah, it's
no,
like,
that's,
okay,
you're
yeah,
doing it
that's not-
wrong.
yeah,
That sounds
it's
bad.
not correct.
Yeah.
It's bad.
What happened?
Look, I mean, I think this is totally.
Something else is playing.
Yeah, what is playing?
That's on yours. I don't
Problem
know.
of what qualifies
Some fucking shit, dude. It's impossible to have all these things. Ads pop up. All kinds of shit happens.
All right. Well, here, let's take a look at this, though. Okay,
Okay.
so this is the 10 craziest amenities at colleges. So we have, let me see here. Starting off on-campus ski resort at Michigan Tech. We have a personal dairy bar at South Dakota State. You know what? Do better. Nobody gives a shit about your milk
That's
bar.
one
You
of
fu-
the
what is
best amenities. Okay, now I'm starting to see it there.
All right, hold on. All right, we got the Lazy River and Beach Club at Mizzou.
Okay.
We have a private steakhouse at High Point, North Carolina. We have an outdoor adventure.
That's just outside. That
Prefer
was,
hiking. Yeah. No, but it's a whole. It's
that
whole
picture-
outdoor center for students, faculty, staff, alumni. In addition to a bike repair shop, there's also a rental center.
we have an outdoor adventure
Yeah,
facility.
go
It's-
outside.
It's just a mountain. Look at that. It's pointy. Run right up it.
Kenyon College. As much free food as you can eat or carry home. Okay, good. This
At a
is
Kenyon
free
college, huh?
laptops at South
Surprising.
Orange, Seton Hall in New Jersey. Free laptops for everyone. Well, I could see that kind of. Ski beach day. That sounds awful.
God, college
Luxury
looks
condo
fucking
dorms
lame,
of
dude.
Boston University. We have lobster dinner every day at Virginia Tech. So these are to me.
They get lobster every day.
If they fucking want it, apparently, and this is what I'm talking about.
Suppose you
So
get sick of it.
when I see this type of shit, I immediately think, okay, what are these? What are our taxpayers? If we're going to be relieving people of their loans, what are we paying for? And I don't need students to be going to school on our people that don't go to fucking school and just go into the workforce. And we don't need to. Oh no, it's all right. I'm gonna try and find.
See if you
what
can find that
is.
because,
because we're gonna have to do that. But yeah, I don't think that is something that the taxpayers need to be paying for. That's not college. That's fucking. That's resorts.
Now, if it was like, like the early days where it was just, a quaint courtyard and students, they've got their books like this. They're crossing their arms and walking
Yeah,
with their books.
sure,
and
maybe.
they're just dedicated to their studies.
Even then,
Even by
fuck 'em.
even by candlelight, whatever it takes. They're
This kept going. That's all that was.
the headmaster is dishing out corporal punishment left and right.
Yeah.
That would be okay.
That's fine.
you know
Honestly,
what?
that is cool.
Now that I'm laying it all out, it started as a joke, but I'm agreeing now.
Yeah,
This
that would be fine. That
if
would, to
I'm
me-
paying for it. I want you getting fucking whipped, all kinds of shit.
Well, here's another little statistic you might be interested in, Vinny.
Okay.
In 1960, colleges awarded A's to about 15% of their students. Now, it's 45%. Now, why would you think that might be?
More Asians?
Might be. No. Or maybe because now they're customers, and you have to keep the customer happy, and you have to make it more saleable.
The reverse crackhead principle.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I don't think that it's people have gotten smarter since 1960, since we see countless videos of random people being asked the simplest questions on the planet right now.
Oh my
and
God.
having no fucking idea.
You would have to believe some of those are fake, but it's like,
But,
man,
yeah.
I don't know. A lot of them seem very real, where they're asking
Oh, yeah.
people like, why do so many people think there's 52 states? I don't know. That's just an answer that comes back all the time.
All the time.
Like,
Nobody
what-
knows
why-
who the
how did
president
you-
is. Nobody knows who the fucking
There's-
vice president is. Nobody
Right.
knows the three branches of government. Nobody knows anything.
Yeah.
And yet we're supposed to be like, yes, we need education
This
for
is-
everyone.
this is
Yeah, we
very
need
important, and
education.
yeah.
We don't need free fucking partying. That's
is-
the thing.
This is very important and not just a meaningless stamp on your permanent record.
Like, okay, so
of course.
Germany, places that have these public institutions of learning, Britain, I believe, there's a few that I can't remember offhand, but these countries require you to be in like the top 8% or 12% of achievers. You don't just get to go to school. You have to fucking prove that you are going to do something at school. So if that's the system, and it's not some predatory thing where you get of an 18-year-old kid a fucking loan that has higher interest than any fucking, you know what I'm saying, upside down ass home loan that you could get that can never be forgiven, so that by the time they're trying to pay off $85,000, they'll pay it off in 50 years and end up paying, $240,000.
I want to say that,
fine.
I want to say friends,
Then we're good.
Friends of mine or people I knew that ended up, finally paying off their college loans. I want to say it ends up being like double or something.
At least some people's are like
Or
they
more.
just can't. Yeah, there are people that are fucking 65
Because they just can't
and
get
are
it done,
still
yeah.
paying down their because it's like
guess
it's
it
like
would all
taking out
depend,
like a credit card that you didn't know that you know what I'm saying, like that when you're 18 you don't know what APRs are and all this shit. And you take one out at 25 fucking percent.
All you see
and you
is,
just run up $35,000 a year
Yeah.
or whatever the tuition is at the place you go, and you can't pay shit off for 4 years, so that just accrues. And then next thing you know, you're coming out of there. You can't find a fucking position because you went and got some, whatever liberal arts degree. Oh, here's
Yeah.
another statistic.
bisexual snowshoeing.
No, in 2019, more undergrad degrees, I think twice as many, were given in visual and performing arts than computer information science, math, engineering. It's like, again, I think people should have access to higher education, but I don't think we should pay somebody's fucking idiot dream of being a playwright when they don't know how to write.
And yeah,
This is a different thing.
if you want to spend $150,000 to learn to be an artist, I think
You're probably on the wrong fucking track to begin
fool and
with.
his money will soon be
Yeah.
parted, and
Yes.
and it will always be that way. And you should have the right to just give somebody your money for no reason if you want,
But not my money.
Right?
But
yeah,
you
yeah.
shouldn't have the right to give somebody my money to go and fucking learn how to, learn about gender studies or fucking, any liberal arts shit. Art or art appreciation or, American or,
they can have your-
English lit. Who gives a like?
I don't even want them to have my money for anything useful.
Yes,
So, I
that's
mean,
a good point.
Especially not
if
that
you're
other
asking
stuff, yeah.
Radioville.
Right.
Now in Radioville, we don't guarantee anything.
Population truth.
Yeah, I like how you use the sword to control that.
To convey the truth. Yeah.
And we need to make a decree about Radioville's policy of higher education. We don't want it.
Yes. Keep your university and your fancy book learning out of our fucking
Keep
border.
your highfalutin,
Yeah.
big word ass out of our town.
Right.
Really, 'cause we don't have room for you. First of all,
The only education I want is the re of Lauren Hill. That's the only that's the only one allowed in Radioville.
Yeah.
Once again, population truth.
All right. Yeah, underwater basket weaving. That's a nice major. But yeah, so I think most reasonable people would say, hey, that would be good if higher education was affordable and accessible to people that are at the lower tiers of the
That's why the
socioeconomic ladder.
That's why the conversation should be, let's
not prey on them and make.
But also, let's start working. If we need to do something as a collective, which I don't even really care if we do,
That's
but
a
if you
good
guys
point.
want to, I would suggest that the conversation becomes, like reforming that gatekeeper status of
Yes.
universities and starting to maybe accept some more affordable ways of accreditation or whatever the fuck you need.
Yes, yeah. If you're going to be an
so-
engineer, go for engineering. You don't need
How many of
art
us-
history class and a fucking English lit class. You
And
just don't.
How many of us work in a field too, where it's like, dude, if you ask a
My
lawyer,
whole family came here to work in a field.
yeah, if you ask a lawyer, what's it like to graduate law school, they'll be like, well, you go work at some place where some guy's like, hey, everything you fucking learned is bullshit. Here's how it actually goes
Yeah.
down. A doctor will tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
A fucking,
Everything you learn,
in-
unlearn it.
In
This is how it goes
in my
real
field.
life.
Like, well, when I was a cook or even kind of a chef at one point, they would send people that just graduated Le Cordon Bleu or whatever,
Yeah.
and they always didn't know anything. They fucking were terrible, and that's anyone who just graduates a school and goes to do their profession. You're like, okay, dude, you you need
this
to
is not how it goes.
start
Yeah,
over.
restaurant management is another one of those where like a GM will come in that only on paper should be a GM, and they don't know what the fuck is going on. And every time I've ever seen that, they end up getting fired pretty quickly because they don't
Sure.
know how to actually run a staff.
Yeah.
They don't know how to act. They know what, in theory, how this should go or that should go. But when the fucking,
because
rubber
they
meets the road,
studied liberal restaurant management.
yeah,
theory,
gender expediting.
Yeah, right. No, but yeah, that's just that, and the same thing with like music and doing sound and stuff. People graduate Columbia and they go to a gig and they've never actually done a gig before, and half of them quit in a week. It's fucking
no,
yeah.
it's yeah. Yeah,
What did you have? Sorry.
Well, no, Mike says it's a resort. Thanks, Mom, Dad. And then he says lobster pools and ski lifts. But look how smart they are when they get out. They can work at a resort for minimum wage and tips.
And that's the other thing too.
Exactly.
We all know anecdotally kind of what a joke the education system has turned into, and how many, if you've worked in restaurants, how many people with college degrees have you worked with?
A ton.
I've
Teachers that are trying
and not
to
even useless ones, like
No.
good ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Whatever those are, the good ones.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't need to name them here.
Right, no, that's
everyone
just
knows. That's
boring.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that we can't. It's that we just don't. We don't want to, assume that you're idiots.
We'd
So
rather
we'll just
stammer on with excuse of why
excuses.
not for a while. That's interesting. Hey,
Yeah.